It's like an unspoken obligation that you have. It's like a deal that you have with patients, and you assume that deal early on when you become a doctor, and you're constantly delivering on it. Right? I do feel that we have a substantial mission to deliver on, and I think that's what keeps me going, keeps many other people here going as well. So by training, I'm a nuclear medicine physician. I'm a member still of the American College of Nuclear Medicine Physicians, right? I felt the need to specialise in nuclear medicine because I found certainty in measuring things, in quantitating things. I found myself in research and development dead ends, in no man's land. And I thought to myself that rather than regurgitating the same lecture notes over 3 years, I would want to go out there and do something fresh.
So George's vision forward and what he wanted to build, I was in 2011, he was in 2020. We're in 2019 today and he's in 2030. It's very important. I remember early on George would say to me, most days we look into the abyss and the abyss looks back at us. So it can be scary and taunting sometimes, but I think you develop a lust for that, and that's what pushes you to the next level and keep innovating.
The concept of seeing, it took a couple of years for me to understand how it all slotted in, but the concept basically was that you're seeing there's a gap. There's a real gap there about getting capital in these early stage developments. And coming out of Australia, there's this traditional valley of death where these projects just don't get off the ground. We get a lot of support from R&D government money, tax incentives at the beginning, but that's it. It dries up after that. IQ Group Global, basically, it's an asset manager. So what we do is we manage assets, early stage life science assets, and bring them to market.
Around the table you might find scientists, physicians, accountants, chemists and physicists all looking at the same asset, and they're looking at one thing but they're seeing 6 different things. That's why we do it, because we think that's our competitive advantage really. That's an inseparable component of our strategy in asset acquisition. The saliva glucose biosensor is meant to basically replace the finger prick test. The unique proposition of the biosensor is that you get precise and accurate measurements of glucose in saliva, and it is easy to manufacture. So it is not some complicated test that 6 scientists are needed and to perform in a laboratory.
Well, the technology, being a convenient, non-invasive, pain-free way of regularly testing your glucose levels, that's like the holy grail in the diabetes community. Unless you have diabetes, particularly the type of diabetes where you're giving yourself insulin injections, I don't think that it's easy to appreciate how it impacts on the quality of life of a person with diabetes.
When we talk about quality of life, if we can give tight control, then those patients aren't going to end up with renal failure or with the amputation. I mean, my personal experience is my father. He had poor control. He was a type 2 diabetic. He ended up getting renal failure. Now, my dad had retired. This is supposed to be the best time of his life, enjoy all the fruits of his labour, and he would be sitting in a hospital 8 hours a day on a dialysis machine. Pretty awful stuff. If we had given him better control early, got him involved, perhaps those finger prick tests which he hated, the saliva glucose biosensor would have been so much easier for him. Maybe my dad wouldn't have ended up with renal failure. Maybe my dad would be here now.
It's about total quality. It's not about half measures. It's not about half-baked solutions, right? It's not about experimentation. You have patients who need what you're developing, and you have the obligation then to deliver it to them.
Innovation is everything at the IQ Group. It starts from basically our processes right through to our field force, making sure that we're best in class and really being high achievers.
It's basically you're doing something, you're creating something. That's the exciting part of the journey. We're creating things, we're going into the unknown and creating things that otherwise couldn't be done.
That's what we do here at the IQ Group. We actually innovate and create jobs that don't have a job description. We make them up as we go. I think in your life you may only get one opportunity You know, money you can make anywhere, but opportunity and to change the world, that's a rare.
We have options to do other things. Everybody has options to do other things. Many of our colleagues have options to choose easier jobs. I have the option to not be here, but there's no place I would rather be than here.